There are two types of people in this world who use stair steppers. Women who are obsessed with their rear ends, like myself, and bodybuilders or people interested in low-impact cardio, and who are obsessed with their rear ends. One of the biggest drawbacks of having a home gym is sometimes you have to sacrifice your favorite exercises because the equipment required is just not practical to have in your space. The best example of that is a stair stepper. So I bought the cheapest, fully functioning stair stepper on Amazon to see if our booty-growing prayers have finally been answered. Stick around while we talk about if this is a dream come true or just another impractical machine that will collect dust. First and foremost, I want you to know that this is a whitelisted product, meaning a Chinese company manufactured it and then different companies rebrand it and sell it to us. That's important to know because you will find basically the exact same machine on Amazon under different companies, and every single one of those listings are going to be hilarious. I bought this one from a company called FitFids on Amazon because at the time it was the cheapest fully featured stair stepper at $1,500. But that's something that will change day by day. And when I say I bought it, I mean I actually bought it with Patreon money, and this video would not be possible without them. They are our best, most dedicated fans, and that's why they get so much exclusive content, including direct access to us in the Gluck's Gym Discord. So, if this review convinces you to buy a stair stepper, don't be afraid to shop around. And also, don't forget to use our affiliate links. Because if you don't, then Bezos will get all your money, and no one wants that, especially since I am way cuter than him. We'll get more into the crazy world of Amazon fitness equipment a little later, but let's talk about this machine first so you can decide if it's right for you. And to be honest, this thing sort of rocks. It's built to last, with 15 speed levels, a display that does much more than expected, and wide, sturdy steps. These steps rotate as you step on them, and there are always 3 steps visible to you, but you can only actually step onto the top 2, and I really wish we had another word for step right now. Each step has a 9-inch tread or depth and is 22 inches wide with a height of about 8.5 inches. These measurements are actually very important, and let me explain why. The step depth of 9 inches will let you know how well your foot fits onto the step. Now for context, according to our good friends at OSHA, a standard step has a minimum tread of 9.5 inches. So this machine does have shallower steps. I personally don't notice the short tread while using it, mostly because I'm walking on the balls of my feet and not really using my heels. But if you have very long feet, maybe that's something you want to be aware of. Wow, what a sentence. Please tell me about your long feet in the comments. Actually, that sounds weird. Don't do that. Just subscribe instead. Next, we have the width, which is fairly obvious. You don't want the steps to be too narrow because you want your body to fit and you want the ability to swing your arms as you walk. But with a width of 22 inches, I think most people would be fine. Also, with this extra width, it opens you up to a lot more exercises. For example, you can walk sideways or backwards or whatever else is trending right now. Finally, we have the step height of about 8.5 inches, which tells us how high you have to lift your foot as you walk. A standard step has a rise of around 7 inches. So if you went from walking up and down steps in your house to this, you might notice you have to pick your foot up a little higher to clear the next step. In a perfect world, it would be great if the height could match a standard step height, but since I'm working out and trying to burn calories, I personally don't mind stepping a little higher than normal. And to be honest, if you walk on this thing for more than 20 seconds, you won't even notice a difference in stair height. Overall, the steps are smooth, not commercial stair stepper smooth, but there's no noticeable hitching or skipping while using it. I do have to say, I think it is a little louder than advertised. I don't think it's really voice of refrigerator. I would place it more as a voice of dryer, but this is a stair stepping machine, and the stair stepping part definitely works and works well. Now let's talk about durability. When this package arrived, I, like a normal person, put together and then hopped on the machine and excited to see how well it worked. My husband, like a crazy person, saw this perfectly assembled working piece of equipment and promptly tore it apart to see exactly how it worked. I guess it's for the best because these insanely in-depth reviews are what makes a lot of you keep coming back, so I can't complain too much, especially when it lets us really look at how durable this product is. I'm a software engineer by trade, but spent my fair share of time working with robots and the likes, so while I'm no expert, I know what I'm looking at here. An electric motor drives a belt and chain transmission that rotates the steps. It's essentially just a few sprockets, chains, and 2 axles. Simple is good. If a system is simple, then it's less likely to break. And if it does break, then it can be fixed. But let's move on to this gorgeous touchscreen HD display. If that wasn't clear, I'm joking. This exact display could be found in a stair stepper from 1995. That being said, it works. You literally just turn it on and it's ready to go with a timer and the ability to manually adjust the speed of the steps. Speaking of speeds, this thing has 15 of them. I don't know if we need 15, but I appreciate the ability to full out sprint upstairs. This manual adjustment mode is how I most commonly use the machine, but does have much more functionality than that. You do have to poke around for a couple minutes to get a hang of it. The instructions are a little lacking, but there are 7 different programs available, and the display shows you what each program entails, with the blocks on the screen representing the speed that the stairs will go. You can adjust the time of the workouts before you start them, with the up and down arrows or the plus and minus signs. The cool thing about this is the default time is 30 minutes, but if you decrease or increase the workout time, the computer inside will automatically change the speed intervals, allowing you to do the full number of speed changes in your selected workout time. You can also change your workout mode to speed, calories, or number of steps depending on what your goal is. Now let's get into the first big problem with this display, and that is these buttons. I know buttons are a new technology, so I can't be too harsh on them, but I would love it if they worked. I'm being slightly dramatic here. The buttons do work, just not well. You may find yourself pressing the same button multiple times before it responds. I will say, I don't actually mind this except for when I'm setting up my workouts. Like I previously mentioned, the default workout time is 30 minutes, which if you've ever done a stair stepper workout, you would know that that is absolutely insane. Please view this picture of me after doing one of these workouts for 10 minutes. Notice the look of despair in my eyes, my sweat-soaked clothes, how near death I am. All that to say, no one is doing these workouts for 30 minutes. So no problem, just type in the time you want before you start, right? Well, this keypad is actually just a decoration that does literally nothing. So you have to hit the down arrows a bunch of times to decrease the workout time. Besides that, the heart rate monitor doesn't really work. I mean, unless I am the pinnacle of athleticism and my heart rate stays at 72 no matter how hard I push myself, which is a possibility, the display really isn't that bad. I genuinely like some things about it. For example, there are 2 different ways to adjust the speed and 3 different ways to stop the steps completely. One is the power button, the other is this red square, and lastly there's a button built into the handle that is an actual button. I should have expected that to happen. This is just a picture of my butt, so let me stop that, but it's immediately responsive. But while talking about safety, I want to mention that there's a sensor, so if you were to get down quickly, some people would say fall, then the motor inside will automatically stop and the stairs will lock. Also, these handles continue down the entire length of the stairs, so if you trip, you have a lot of chance to grab them. As a klutzy person, I really appreciate these safety features and definitely utilize them while testing out this product. The display is one of those things you just have to accept when you buy a budget piece of equipment. It's outdated, non-responsive, and has some superfluous buttons. I would say it's average at best, but it works and has some good built-in functionality, like the pre-programmed workouts. You just have to remember, this thing is less than half the cost of the cheapest stepper, and sometimes simpler is better when it comes to budget equipment. So maybe not having a touchscreen with built-in streaming is for the best. That's a hard sell. I know I'm being a little harsh in this review, and that's mostly because, like my husband, I struggle to be positive. But in reality, this is a good piece of equipment. It's a bare-bones stepper that works and works well. Sure, there are other home gym options with fancier features, but they are thousands of dollars more, and I'm not sure how much I personally would use them. I think most people would be more than happy to have this in their home gym, and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I genuinely liked it. Okay, now back to my negative self. Another thing with budget equipment is these random companies selling whitelisted products have no brand recognition or honor. Ours actually came with a big dent in the side and the crate was marked "Return" in big red letters. I actually reached out to Amazon about getting a replacement for the side, and they said I had to just return the entire 400-pound machine and there was no way for me to get a replacement part. Technically, there is a 2-year warranty and we did reach out to the company about getting a replacement part, but they haven't gotten back to us yet. Check out the pinned comment on this video to see if they ever did. Our shipping experience was amazing though. The delivery guys actually ended up subscribing to the channel. If that's not great customer service, I don't know what is. All I do know is that if these hardworking men could subscribe to our channel during their busy workday, then you can too. The machine came well packed. It was wrapped in plastic and foam inside a wooden crate. Some assembly was required. You had to attach the foot pegs, the handle, and the screen. But it wasn't difficult and took me around 15 minutes. But the directions were literally useless, so you sort of just had to figure it out for yourself. So if the machine works and is easy to assemble, then how the heck does it have such bad Amazon reviews? Bringing us back to the listing, the reviews for this product are a little bit misleading, and for the first time, not because there are a bunch of obviously fake positive reviews. You know, like FitVid's other listing for the exact same product, that if you read the reviews is actually for kettlebells. They just switched the listing information, so at first glance, this machine has 410 5-star reviews. The real listing has a staggering 3.1 out of 5 stars, making it one of the worst reviewed products I have ever purchased, but not for the reasons you would think. Most of the negative reviews are because it's tall and heavy. This has an actual height of 80 inches. I say actual because the listing says it's 51 inches, but that is without the very necessary display and handles. I'm 5'6", and while standing on the top step would measure about 8.5 feet. I would say you would need at least 9-foot ceilings to comfortably use this thing, but if you were taller, you would need more. But the weight is accurately listed at 450 pounds. Well, I think it's accurate. I don't have a scale big enough to weigh it, but I tried to pick it up and then I tried to pick up a 450-pound barbell and it felt about the same. Also, there are no wheels to help move this around, meaning you sort of just have to unbox it and then awkwardly shuffle it with at least 2 people into the desired location. The negative reviews were mostly based on people's inability to move the stair stepper. Oh, sorry, I mean the continuous climber commercial grade stair stepping machine for cardio and lower body workouts. Wow, that name really just rolls off the tongue. Don't get me wrong, there were a number of reviews saying the customer service wasn't good, but there were surprisingly few reviews complaining about the actual functionality of the machine, which is a great sign. Also, it's Amazon. You can return everything. So while there is a risk, it's not a huge one. If you guys would be interested in seeing me review another stair stepper, maybe a name brand one this time, let us know in the comments and hopefully I can convince Adrian we need another large piece of equipment to move around. I, like all other booty-growing women or low-impact cardio lovers, treasure a good stair stepper. And while there are many fancier alternatives that have amazing features like floating steps and built-in streaming, you're gonna pay for it. So while this machine is definitely not perfect, I was genuinely impressed by how well it worked and how much I liked it, especially with that budget price point. Big shout out to our Patreons that single-handedly funded this video. Thank you guys and see you next week.